Today's webinar will be recorded so that we can share it with those who weren't able to make it. And for that reason, we put this in webinar mode so you all can not have to be recorded and put on the internet, but feel free to put questions in the chat as we go along. So I'll go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody to our community update webinar. We thought that this was an important meeting to share with all of you the many things that have happened just in these last 3 months since the start of the year, and also some of the initiatives that we are launching in 2023. It's going to be an amazing year, and we're really excited, and we want to share that excitement with all of you. So this is from a recent meeting in Salt Lake City where we launched our Creatine Deficiency Research Center, and we also had a board planning meeting to plan all of these wonderful activities. So all right, so one of the first things that's happened this year is, if you haven't heard, GAMPS was added to the United States Recommended Uniform Screening Panel for newborn screening disorders that are recommended to be screened for in each individual state. This is a really difficult accomplishment. They are very picky and choosy about who they add to this list. And so we're really grateful that we've finally reached this milestone, and it should be very helpful as we advocate not only in the US, but beyond the US. Many groups look at this list as a way to feel confident in adding new disorders. So we've got a lot of work to do there. If you are in a state or country where you would be willing to partner with us in approaching the governing body that oversees newborn screening, please reach out. We'd love to have your help. It's always better to have some local families that are willing to speak up and to help with this. We have awarded 3 new fellowships with funding this year. And each of these are working with expert mentors. So Ludovica Iovino is working with Dr. Laura Baroncelli. She was awarded $30,000 to continue their gene therapy as a possible treatment for creatine transporter deficiency research through 2024. And just a side note, if you want to learn more about Dr. Baroncelli's work, I would recommend going to our YouTube channel and looking through the old recordings from our virtual conference as well as in-person conference. And there's a lot of really good talks by Dr. Baroncelli. Dr. Andrews will be mentoring Crystal Mullick in her lab in Alberta, Canada. They will be focused on advancing biomarker discovery and development of a zebrafish model for CTD drug screening. And Dr. Jonathan Schlabach, you may remember Dr. Schlabach. He mentored Charles Kuntz in the past for 2 years, and he is mentoring Jackie Gallagher as a new fellow this year who is studying pharmacological chaperones for creatine transporter deficiency. And then also in research funding activities, we have funded the first ever Creatine Deficiency Research Center that is centered at the University of Utah. We have kicked off the first project of several with Dr. Stephen Baker. There is information again on our YouTube channel that we hosted a Facebook Live interview with Dr. Baker back in early winter during our Holiday Heroes campaign, and he explained in detail the project that he is working on to introduce creatine into the brain of those with CTD through several different creative approaches. We're really excited about this project, and also just to have this research center as a resource to take new projects to, and to have these experts working together. In the picture, you'll see Dr. Pasquale and Dr. Longo are mentors in this project, as well as having future projects that they plan to launch. And so more details will be coming out throughout the year on projects at this center. We also just completed our Delphi survey round 1. And if you are not familiar with that survey, it is a survey focused on establishing a core outcome set A core outcome set is a series of main outcomes that have been agreed upon for a medical condition. And what this means for our community is having these agreed upon outcomes means that any clinical trials that take place in the future for treatments for our disorders will have some of the same guidelines as far as what they are going to measure and look for and report back. And that makes both their research parent and expert approved and relatable because they're following our feedback and guidelines. And also it creates studies that are comparable one from another. So you have the same things to compare against. There is another round of this survey. And so if you participated in round 1, you will receive an invitation to participate in round 2. If you did not participate in round 1, it's not too late to join in round 2. And the more parents and clinicians that we have with children with creatine deficiencies participating in this, the more valuable our data is and the better we can come to a consensus. We will have 3 rounds total, but you cannot join in round 3 if you haven't participated. So please, if you haven't joined yet, just be aware that you can join in round 2. That survey is coming out sometime in April. And then after the 3rd round, we will have a consensus work group this summer. Our partner, our academic partner in this project is Dr. Sylvia Stockler. And we will be working with her and other parents and clinicians to come to a consensus and then publish our findings in a formalized core outcome set. In January, we held the Creatine Deficiency Externally Led Patient-Focused Drug Development Meeting. If you were not able to attend, I highly recommend visiting our website /EL-PFDD and checking out the recording there. It's a long video, but it was an amazing meeting. I think it's well worth the watch, but at a minimum, I would say check in at about the 1 hour mark for the morning family testimonies. And then in the afternoon, it's about 3.5 hours in are the afternoon family testimonies. They were amazing. So thank you to everyone that participated in that. We are working with a medical writer who is creating a voice of the patient report, and that will be done in about a month from now. The voice of the patient report is hosted on the FDA's website, and this is a really valuable resource for anyone pursuing creatine deficiencies already and looking to have a well-informed trial structure, but also it's very important for people considering investigating creatine deficiencies. It gives them a good head start in learning about our disorders, and it represents that our community is strong and ready for developments and clinical trials in these areas. As part of our previously mentioned research project to find core outcome sets, we also have launched an expert panel series. This meeting is a quarterly meeting. The next one occurs on June 2nd. It's 90 minutes long. And the format is that we have a group of experts on a panel. Currently, there's about 14 experts on our panel, and they review case studies from parents who are participating in this study. And the parents have highlighted some of their top concerns with their child's care. And these experts discuss the case. They discuss potential different approaches that they might try. And it's very informative about the different symptoms that we all are experiencing with our children and different approaches that we might want to explore and bring up with our clinicians on how we can alter their care. This is a meeting for both caregivers and clinicians, so feel free to invite your clinician. We do record this meeting, but I will say that during the discussion amongst the experts, we replace that on the recording with summary slides. So if you would like to be present for the discussion and be able to put questions in the chat and hear the whole conversation, I would highly recommend that you attend in person. As part of this program, we will also be incorporating at the end an Ask the Experts session. So this will be an open discussion in the panel about questions submitted by you on our website. It's creatineinfo.org, but /ask-the-experts. There's a form there, and you can submit questions. We'll get those to the expert panel ahead of time so they can put together very thoughtful answers and discuss amongst each other on this call. So look for that to be part of upcoming expert panel calls. Another program that we've been doing is our SIB Shop program, and this has been focused on providing support to the siblings of those affected by creatine deficiencies. And it is led by a certified SIB Shop instructor, Jess, and she meets with these children in different age groups about once every 6 weeks. The next meeting is coming up on Saturday, April 8th. And I will mention, if you've signed up for SIB Shops or the expert panel, you will continue to be invited. So you won't need to sign up for those over and over again. If you have not yet signed up, visit our website and look for SIB Shops. You can scroll down to the bottom of the homepage and find upcoming events there as well. But we meet in different age groups every hour. And this is a group where the children just meet with Jess and talk to each other, and they talk about things like, what they have in common and how they feel about their sibling and ways that, they're connected. And it's been a really positive experience so far. Next event coming up is the virtual conference at the end of the summer. We will be having a virtual conference as in years past on August 25th and 26th. It will be midday and about 3 hours each day. And the presentations will be from experts, researchers, our fellows, those at the research center, and other researchers you maybe have never heard from before. The presentations will be 15 minutes long, and we will have a special caregiver session a week before. The caregiver session is going to have some special guests who will provide things such as sleep training, financial planning, and helping siblings of CCDS patients from the parents' point of view here, and also a keynote speaker. So look for signups for that coming out in the next week or so, and we'll get those invites sent out. I also wanted to make everyone aware that we meet once a quarter with about a dozen parents who have volunteered to be ACD ambassadors throughout the world. And that is open to anyone to join. So if you're interested in being more involved, or being introduced to different ways that you can support local families, even within the US, but especially outside of the US. The focus here is that, for example, if a family from Germany joins our network, we have ambassadors in Germany who have said, we're here to support new families. Yes, contact us. And we are able to provide a local connection for the family so that they have some of the resources that aren't as available in the support group, like how to get a hold of medicine locally, or, who are the good clinicians to go see, or things like that. So another focus of this group is reaching out locally to rare disease groups and getting connected, sharing your story, looking for ways to make a connection available and visible to any new patients that get diagnosed with creatine deficiencies. So again, contact me if you would like to be a part of this. We'd love to have you casually or formally as an ambassador and involved in this process. The meetings also are a really good time to get updates and learn what ACD is doing. So now on to our patient registry. Our patient registry has 175 participants currently enrolled. You can see the stats here of which disorders are represented, and also where most of the patients or the participants are located. And I will add to that this year, our registry is being enabled with Spanish and French translations. So we hope to see even more diversification amongst these regions. And we have new surveys that are coming out this year. Just to remind everyone, the patient registry is owned by our community. This is not an industry or pharma or even academic sponsored registry. This is sponsored by our community through funds donated to ACD. We have a patient registry coordinator who works on this as a part-time person, and we are always working with academic partners and a family advisory board to develop these surveys to make them as important and relevant to our disorders as possible. Our next survey that is coming up has just released today. It's an oral medication survey, and that was created in cooperation with Ultragenics. And it's a short survey. I think you'll find it really interesting. It captures what experiences you've had with giving your child different medications orally. So tablets, capsules, creatine powders. And if you are not a part of the registry yet, reach out, visit the website. This is the actual registry URL. So it's creatineinfo.imrare.org. But, reach out to us and we would love to help you get registered there. Or if maybe you've lost your login information, you're locked out, can't remember your password, anything like that, we can help you. Upcoming, we have a cardiovascular survey and then a seizure survey. So we'll have a busy year in 2023 with our registry. Again, the oral medication survey is going to be very helpful for researchers to create treatments that our kids will tolerate. So take the survey today at this URL and let us know if you need help joining the registry. And lastly, June 10th is our 8th Walk for Strength. And we hope that if you haven't set up a team yet, that you will go ahead and do that. We have seen huge growth in the walk just over the last few years. You can see down here in 2018, we raised under $10,000 up to last year where we raised almost $89,000. This year we have a lofty goal because I think you can see we have a lot of research to support with more opportunities presenting themselves on a regular basis. Our goal is $150,000, and we had 50 teams participate last year. A few of those teams brought in about 30,000 of this number, just two of the teams. So I think it's a realistic goal, and we're here to help you. We have set up a lot of resources on our website. If you haven't done a walk before, I will say you can get really creative. So this is Randy Allen, one of our board members. He has done a 68-mile walk, and the format of his walk has been that he challenges his friends and family to offer a financial support to him, and then he starts walking, and he's walking into the night, and he's on social media sharing his progress, and it's been really exciting. And it's not only a great way for him to raise some funds to help ACD, but it's a great way to get this term in people's minds: creatine deficiency, CTD, GAMT, AGAT, and just to be telling your story and be out there on social media. So this is the Tuminello family. Kim is a board member as well, and they've had a walk every single year since we started, and their walk has grown to be around 100 participants. They partner with other families in the area, and they reach out to local bakeries and get donuts donated, and they just make a really fun day out of it. And it's become a tradition with their friends and family. So you can do anything in between. You can do whatever is comfortable for you, but it's a great way to have an activity with friends and give them an opportunity to feel like they're a part of what's important to you and your family, and that they can support you. On our website, on the walk page, you'll find a link to Team Captain's resources. And there's a really great video from Kayla, who hosted a huge walk last year. It was her first year, And she had almost 300 people attend her walk with several big sponsors. And she had a silent auction and a raffle and all sorts of activities. She really got creative, and she raised about $16,000 at her very first walk. And her ideas are really inspiring and helpful in getting me thinking about different ways to do my walk. So that video is worth a watch. There's also resources posted on the website. You can find sample letters that you could customize to create outreaches to folks for sponsorship. There's a family and small business sponsorship, a PDF, as well as a corporate sponsorship. You just play it by ear of, depending on the company you're reaching out to, what would be applicable. There's a form where the sponsors can pledge their sponsor donation there, and some other ideas on ways to fundraise. So important dates to be aware of with the walk. It is June 10th, but April 15th is the last day for the early bird registration prices. Currently, it's $25 for adults and $20 for children to register, and that includes attending the walk and the t-shirt. After April 15th, the prices will go up, but you will still receive a t-shirt all the way through May 1st until the absolute t-shirt deadline, when we also have a sponsorship deadline and we send things off to be printed. Because we have families around the world walking, we do have a somewhat early t-shirt deadline. So it's important, if you're having a walk, to get the word out, I'd say in the next week at the minimum. So you start having people sign up, and there are fewer people disappointed that they show up at the walk and don't have a shirt. And on the topic of the shirt, we put out a challenge earlier this week to get 10 new teams to sign up. We're a little bit behind where we were last year. And if you haven't signed up to host a team, I hope you'll do it. It would very much help us this year as we look at sponsoring more and more research projects. If you would like to talk to me one-on-one about any of these projects, you have questions, you have suggestions, you have ideas for how we could make a web page better, or anything, I am open to meeting with you and hearing your suggestions and trying to implement those. So please reach out on anything that we've talked about today. I want to mention that our organization has been run by a board that is all volunteer. Most of these people here are volunteer board members, with a couple of staff members, including myself now. And if you have any interest in participating in a more hands-on way with ACD, we are always looking to grow our organization and to capitalize on your backgrounds and experience and expertise. So please do reach out. We're excited for this year. We think that it's going to be a year to remember. And again, if there's anything that you would like to share or questions that you have after this meeting, reach out and I would love to chat with you. And if you have a question, you could post it in the chat right now. I don't see any questions that have come in. But otherwise, we will wrap up, and you can expect to see a newsletter in your email inbox in the next 24 hours, and it's going to include a link to all of the things I talked about today, including the oral medication survey, the walk. So I've got one question. Let's see. Chat is disabled. The chat is disabled, but you can post your questions in the Q&A. All right, well, reach out to me directly. It's Heidi@creatineinfo.org if you want to email me, and we'll get you all these links, information, and look forward to an awesome 2023 and more of these update meetings on a regular basis. Thank you, everybody.